Eric is also planning that after the draw, he will be visiting some players across Europe, because of course he doesn't have any game, before games we are going to be having lined up in March. He needs to also familiarize himself with some of the players, which I understand he's already speaking to via the telephone and having chats with them. And thank you for joining me on AY Sugar Nigeria Lifestyle channel. My name is AY Sugar. It's great to be back on the screens again and to talk, Nigerian football, especially the national team of Nigeria. What has been happening with Eric Chelle after his announcement by the Nigeria Football Federation about a month, is it up to a month now? About close to a month ago now, or some weeks now. A lot really has been happening with the coach hitting the ground running. I understand the coach visited the camp of the Chan team, that's the Super Eagles B side, the locally based players who ply their trade in the Nigeria Premier Football League. And of course, he stayed with them, observed their training. Then it was thought that the tournament will be in February. That's the Chan Nations Cup, built to be staged in Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda. But CAF, the Confederation of African Football, put it off to a later date in August. So, of course, they had to totally tell everybody to go back home and go focus on their teams and give, the same very wonderful performances so that they can still be invited when the tournament, comes back. Of course, when everywhere will be ready. That's in Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda, and CAF also will be ready, to host the rest of Africa, especially the teams that are qualified. So the camp has been closed down, and Eric Chelle was present. He saw the friendly game they played 3-2 against Sunshine Stars of Akure, and after that, he also observed one of their training sessions. Which Coach Daniel Ogumodede took charge of alongside Coach Fidelis Ilechukudi, one assisting him, coach of Rangers International. And after that, Eric also had some time to do one or two things in Lagos, and from there jetted to France, where he lives. And I understand that he's now strategizing ahead of the very, very important match, or matches in March. That's the Rwanda and Zimbabwe games that would determine if the Super Eagles of Nigeria will still be in the race for the qualification for the 2026 World Cup, be to be staged in the United States of America, Mexico, and Canada. Nigeria is in a very, very precarious situation, and that needs to be sorted with the two games in the month of March. Well, I understand again, in 7 days or so, in the number of days, depending on when you're watching this particular broadcast, Eric will be in Morocco, and for what will be for the Nations Cup draw. Yes, CAF will be putting that together. The ceremony will be hosted in Rabat, and it's going to be a fanfare because most of the coaches of the national teams that have qualified will be in attendance, and we want to see what teams they will be playing in Morocco later in December 2025. Well, it's a big one. It will be the first time Eric would mingle with the remaining headmasters of national teams, so to speak, when everybody gather in Rabat, Morocco. Well, I'm sure a lot will be on the mind of Coach Eric Chelle. What is he doing now? Well, I also understand that Eric is also planning that after the draw, he will be visiting some players across Europe, because of course he doesn't have any game. He needs to also familiarize himself with some of the players, which I understand he's already speaking to via the telephone and having chats with them and trying to introduce himself to them, and make them, see themselves as family, because that is very key. Bonding is very, very important, when these things are done, when coaching is involved, and when you have a bunch of superstars you need to work with. They need to understand your philosophy. They need to understand where you're headed, what you intend intend and what you want them to do on the pitch of play and out of the pitch of play, because both matters, when it comes to preparation for major important games coming ahead for the national team of Nigeria, especially, like I said, they don't have any game to play, no friendly, no tune-up game before they gather together and, fly abroad and come back to Nigeria to play those 2 matches that would determine if Nigeria will still be in the race for the 2026 World Cup qualifiers built to be staged in the United States of America, Canada, and Mexico. Well, a lot, certainly. We also expect that the coach is already looking at the players as they are performing now, and he's expected to drop his, the list of players that will be invited towards the end of February. But I understand now he's looking at it. I don't know yet if there will be any new player on his list this time. When I mean new player, I mean a player maybe that has not been invited before, or that will be making a comeback to the national team under Eric, because we understand his model operandi, working with Mali, and judging him by that, he wants a hungry team. He wants a team that will fight, and he's not afraid, he's not afraid when it comes to taking decisions. So we'll see how he manages this list of superstars that we have in the Super Eagles of Nigeria. We know they are all committed players. We know they are determined, and we know they are focused, and they know the importance of these qualifiers, I'm sure, because if you look at the Super Eagles of Nigeria, most of the players in that particular team want to be part of the World Cup, at least even if it's just one, because we've had players in the past who have attended 2 World Cups. Ekong has gone to 1, Omero has gone to 2. We had Balogun also play. We had who again is still part of the team that was at that World Cup in 2018, that is currently in the team. Ndidi was part of the 2018 World Cup finish after a good work by Moses Simon. Moses Simon wants to be at the World Cup. He missed the 2018 World Cup due to injury. Osimhen, of course, brilliant player, wants to be part of the World Cup. Olaino, who is about 27, 28, wants to be at the World Cup. Current African Footballer of the Year, of course, who say Ademola Lookman will not want to be part of the World Cup. So the list goes on and on. So, and I'm sure these players desire to play with the best of legs when everybody gather on these North American countries to play the rest of the world. So I'm sure they are thinking what I'm thinking, which is qualifying for the World Cup. And they would show it when they gather and play Rwanda, when they play Zimbabwe, and of course take on the remaining teams that we need to play. It's very important to let them know, in case they've forgotten, that we need to win the remaining 6 games. How we want to do it, well, we'll see how that will be sorted. But that's just the much I can give right now concerning the plans of Eric Chelle and what he intends doing ahead of the match window that will be open for the qualifiers to resume, and of course, the draw that is coming up, and so much more, the list that will be released before the games in March. Well, that's it from me. Just some sort of update that I needed to give you, and I hope more certainly will come before March as we follow up what the Super Eagles are doing. Successful months, when hostilities resume, in March for the World Cup qualifiers. Till I come back on the screen again, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, turn on the notification bell, and click the like button if you enjoy this particular content. I will see you in another video. Till then, have a great evening, and bye-bye.